Welcome to SerialPodcastNine.
We can start the podcast.
Yeah, let's do it.
Start it.
Hi, hello. I'm Kevin Peterson.
And I'm Gerard DeBron.
And I'm Ryan Benoit, and this is SerialPodcastNine. It's an episode.
48, 33, 44,
69.
Hopefully one of
What's
those numbers
the Harry
is right.
Potter? Hey, Gerard, what's the Harry Potter platform?
30, 11 and 3 quarters?
Yeah, 11.
Yeah, is it 11? I don't know.
No, I thought it was 9 and 3 quarters. I don't know, man.
Ooh,
Yeah,
like
I know it's
Serial
a
9 and 3
3/4.
quarters? Oh,
Yeah.
You should do a Serial 9 collab with Harry Potter.
We should.
999 and 3 quarters.
We'll slam the golden snitch.
Ooh. All right. I don't know. Yeah, much about Harry Potter. I don't know much about those things.
I thought you were a Harry Potter.
Yeah,
fan, for sure.
that's
Really?
very surprising.
Get out of
to me,
here,
yeah.
you guys. Fuck off with that. I don't read books.
What? You just watched the damn movie, man. You didn't read the book.
Dude, the
Well,
movies
look.
came out when you were like a kid nearly. Like,
No, the books were out. The final book came out, and I feel like I was an adult. And I was like, what's all this Hufflepuff about? I thought. No.
Hufflepuff. Jesus Christ.
My wife enjoyed Harry Potter, so I had to watch the movies then. But here's the thing. I always say if there's a book, I always say that I'll wait for the movie because I don't want to read a book. But then inevitably the book's always better than the movie. So I don't care for Harry Potter either way. Doesn't affect my life. Star Wars, on the other hand. Anyway, so we got questions, and you guys might have answers.
Sounds good.
it's possible.
So we got long-time listener, long-time writer inner,
Matt Peterson.
Matt Peterson.
Thank God. People just be like, yo, he's paying.
Yeah, exactly.
You guys are paying him to keep your podcast going.
In my last will and testament, if anything ever happens to me, I want Matt Peterson to take over this podcast.
We should just have him as a guest host one time.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Yeah, I'd be like, yeah, so fucking like you guys like have like 40 episodes. Basically be like, yo.
All right, here we go. Fucking your boy Matt Peterson writes in with, quite honestly, I'm running out of material here. Lol. But I got one more for you. I've known Kevin and Gerard for years and remember the days of Kevin buying $40 Motormaster electric impact guns.
Yes, I will fucking die on that hill.
He'd putting them through what I call extreme test scenarios on his race car and various parts cars and other vehicles he owned. It would inevitably fail, and he'd just go out and spend another $40 and treat his new gun with the same level of domestic abuse. To all us garage mechanics, what are some tools that are worth spending the money on? What tools
that's a good
did
one,
you
actually.
put off buying only to realize it made your lives so much easier and you regret not buying them sooner?
This is actually a good question for Kevin.
Yeah.
Because
The
Kevin
list
and I,
of tools that I've put off, like that would make my life easier, is every single tool ever. I'm one of these people that never wants to buy any tool, and then the minute they have the tool, just thinks it's the best tool ever, and finds like every scenario to now use that tool.
yeah, there was a long time when like the Snap-on truck would roll around and I'd go and I'd like hum and haw, and then I'd be like, you know what, fuck it, I'm gonna buy it, because like I just feel super guilty every time I bought something for Snap-on, because Kevin's like, no, you just spend all this money on this fucking tool that we already have, kind of like sort of like does the same shit, and then like 2 days later he's like, yo man, this tool's like super sick, like
Yeah.
it's like so dope. And
Yeah,
it was
I think
like-
I'm just like super cheap, but I'm also like a tech or a gear nerd at heart. you
Yeah,
know?
I think
Like,
maybe you're like a bit stubborn. So like you're kind of like anti like new shit, or anti like
Anti-establishment is what Kevin.
anti like life easing. You know what I mean?
He's very. He's
You want
very
to do it the
punk
hard
rock.
way.
Yeah, exactly.
He's a punk rock garage.
Yeah.
guy.
No, but honestly, like I feel like I sold so many people on those Mastercraft impact guns, because like when like anything at Canadian Tire, it's like way overpriced normally, and then it goes on sale for like 60% off, and then you buy it then. And yeah, it was so good. Like, yeah, man, I just can't. It was so good for how cheap it was. Like, I swear, I made Gerard eventually buy one. Like 3 generations later, like he got one, and then I think I don't know. I think you're pretty stoked with it, but like
I was, but then I hate cords. I couldn't stand the cords, so
it was it was the battery powered one.
Oh, okay, yeah, it's that like weird kind of like gray and yellow.
One, yeah.
Yeah, those are pretty decent for sure.
All right, this is a fun trip down memory lane of impact guns, but not the question. What?
No, but listen,
I got the answer. That is the question, isn't it? We're talking about
the
answer. What's the answer of the
Milwaukee? Anything Milwaukee. The shit is bomb.
Like, it's great.
Yeah. Amazing.
It's amazing. So anything Milwaukee. So, but
I think that's like a pretty well-known thing that like in terms of power tools, Milwaukee's like the professional choice. Yeah.
Don't come out with that DeWalt shit or that
or like Ryobi or
right. Milwaukee. I mean, honestly, I think there's some like weird Japanese Ryobi thing, but like they don't have the same like sort of heavy duty tools. Like, and like, I mean, there might be some people that can test this, but we literally have the exact same 1/2-inch giant impact gun from when the fuck did we get that in 2013?
Yeah, it feels
2012?
Like 7 years or something.
At least, dude. And it was not new when we got it. We got it used like as a gift.
Yeah.
And we're like, oh yeah, like whatever. If it works for a year, like it's fucking sweet. It's like literally worked for 7-8 years. It just keeps on going. All right. Just put battery and stuff.
But here's
if I had to buy any tools for my house, like power tools, like I wouldn't buy anything other than Milwaukee.
Yeah.
All right. But here's the thing. The question was actually, what tool did you put off buying? Like, you're like, no, I'll just keep using like whatever made up shit version of that. And then when you got it, you were like, yo, I can't believe I lived without this. Like, what would you recommend to someone like at-home mechanic?
I mean, that's so hard because it's like, it depends on what you have. It's like, and I feel like we did talk about this, and it's like everything. It's like, I could make do with like 4 wrenches, but then all of a sudden you get like speed wrenches or double end box wrenches or like S-curve wrenches or crowfoot wrenches. And all of a sudden, like, there's all these scenarios where you're like, I could do this with a normal wrench, or I could be 8 times faster with this specialty wrench. And then that goes across to like ratchets and like quarter drives
sockets,
and like
super short sockets,
medium depth and super shorts and like
all right, if I'm to buy one tool,
there's not one tool, man.
Come on, man.
Okay, no, you do have one tool that's probably pretty good to have, and we always carry it with us in our cars. Like, I mean, we used to, but like we still kind of do. Okay, so is it Crescent? No, it's not Crescent. It's what's the company that makes the big jaw crescent wrench?
The blue one.
Channel Lock. Okay, so Channel Lock makes a short crescent wrench, but it's a wide jaw crescent wrench. Yeah. So it like goes fucking huge, but it's actually like a really short wrench, or it's actually a really short crescent wrench, so you can put it in your car very easily.
And like, also, like when your car's slammed, you can still turn it under the car.
Exactly. So you need to tighten a jam nut or like adjust like a toe or some weird thing. Like if something comes loose, you're not going to do a great job, but like the fact that it's short but big, it can literally cover any nut or bolt on your car, but it's short enough to like actually work on a low car.
I'm so glad that you said that, because when we did the control arm video, I had to cut the scene, but for some reason you just trailed off and talked about how much you love that wrench. And then at the end of you talking about it, you're like, I don't know why I did that. We need to redo this whole thing. And I was like, yeah.
That you turned to like blooper video.
You turned your like install video into like a commercial for a crescent wrench. I was like,
some tools are cool, man.
You should just make that like a 30-second or whatever, 15-second like video anyway. Like
always
SerialNine Channel Lock ad.
Yeah. Jeez. All right. Well,
maybe that could be a sponsor.
Yeah. So who do we got for sponsors now?
Milwaukee.
Lever 2000.
One thing I will say is the drawer slides on the Milwaukee toolboxes is not not up.
Yeah,
there.
I don't know who makes that thing, but it is fucking garbage. Or maybe we just got a super bunk one, but it was literally garbage.
Everything I've read online is just like it's not meant to be fully loaded in daily use, and like it's very fully loaded and very daily use.
So when do you guys make a choice between Milwaukee and Snap-on? Because I was there the other day and the Snap-on truck pulled up, and I only thought that was ever a meme.
Tell you what, my money's on Snap-on. My money's on Snap-on. My money's on Milwaukee.
To me, they
That's
don't
the
really.
fastest you've ever
There's not a whole
flip-flopped.
like there's not a whole.
No,
lot
I made a
cross.
mistake.
No, I know. I'm just joking.
I was just saying
Like-
for like the power tools, like you're gonna buy like an electric ratchet or a fucking impact gun or whatever. It's like honestly, like the Snap-on, it's like the Snap-on's like the Android of power tools. They're like on paper, they have like 800 foot-pounds, blah, 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 this and that. And it's like, yeah, that's sick. But like when you use the thing, like a Milwaukee will walk all over a Snap-on all fucking day. It's cheaper. It does exactly the same thing, if not
And
better.
one thing I will say is like when you're getting the power tools are fairly cheap. It's the
Yeah.
batteries and the chargers that are expensive. So once
Yeah.
you kind of already established with that, it kind of makes sense. And also it's like I guess they do now. Snap-on now I think has
Yeah.
a sawzall, but they don't have like
Yeah.
a circular saw.
Yeah, they literally
They don't-
have like
But Milwaukee has
fucking
everything, all like automotive tools, like carpentry tools, like
Yeah.
just general house. They got like blowers and stuff. Like you can't you Snap-on blower to use
I
all
mean,
your
they
Snap-on
have-
batteries that you already have.
Yeah, they have a fucking electric grease gun. They have electric.
They got
The
lights,
caulking
they got
guns.
speakers. They yeah.
Yeah, man. Like you can't.
You name it,
can't fuck
Milwaukee
with that
has
shit.
it. Yeah.
They're out there
exactly.
doing it.
Yeah. So then,
But they don't
But
make
as
any
far-
hand tools.
yeah, but as far as the tools go, like yeah, Snap-on, Hundo P, and it's
I mean-
funny because Snap-on
But I mean, we'll
tools
say like
are
we don't
actually
have a Snap-on socket set at all, and we don't even have a full Snap-on wrench set or anything. It's
Ooh.
you know,
We have a Snap-on wrench set. We have two.
yeah, not like not a comprehensive set though. I would
I mean, yeah, we have all the main ones that we use in 12, 14,
Yeah,
shit
yeah,
like that.
Not as-
But yeah, like the Snap-on sockets, I don't know. That's the thing with me is like
I've
I've-
never broken a Canadian Tire socket. I've never owned an impact socket because I was just
Neither
like, well,
have
I'll
I.
just use the regular socket, and when
Yeah.
it breaks, then I'll go get a new one because even Canadian Tire has a lifetime warranty.
Yeah, and like those impact sockets are so stupid. They're just big and bulky and stupid. I get it; they transfer more torque, but like I'm not taking off fucking rig lug nuts. Like I'm taking off like like an intake manifold nut or like I mean
At the most, it's like a crank pulley.
yeah,
and even
it's
that-
still,
even that,
you
it's
still
not-
don't use an impact.
It's not an impact socket. Yeah.
I mean, I've only ever broken like 3 sockets in my entire lifetime, man. And one of them was like one that I had ground down to be thinner. And of
Yeah,
course
well,
that
that-
shit's going to break.
We have that.
And it's
like,
12 point,
12.14 mil
14
socket
mil.
that's ground down to nothing right now, and it
ground down to nothing. And we use it on an impact gun. Like
and it doesn't
all the
break.
time.
Yeah,
No, that one has broken. That one is
not the
broken.
one we have.
Oh, isn't it? Oh, I've broken one of those before that we've probably done the exact same thing for.
Fuck,
'Cause,
we
yeah,
get
that's-
so much mileage out of Matt's questions. And you guys are always like, I don't want to answer, and then we
No,
just
no,
go for it.
I love it.
It's a good question, though. It's a very good question.
He
So
did.
yeah, I mean,
Go
okay,
on.
so like another second tier or whatever. Like, I mean, for us here, I like the Husky tools, man. I've literally had the Husky swivel ratcheting wrench set for a decade, and I think I only broke the 17 mil, probably because I put like another huge wrench on it, and it just like blew the guts out of it. But like,
So the one thing though that I really love about Matt's questions is that there's always a second part. So it's like a proper story. There's an introduction and a rise in action, and then denouement, and then a conclusion. But so you get the follow up. He's like, Gerard. He like answers the question. And he said, Gerard will answer with, I don't know. We make our own tools and shit. Then we'll segue into a talk about the hood props on Nissans aren't as thick as Toyota, but they have a better feel and they're shorter / lighter. And I was like, damn, this guy's reading Gerard's mail.
That's not
every
even
day.
a tool though.
Yeah, no, yeah, but he just knew that Gerard would segue into it.
Honestly though, like Wera is a dope brand.
yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, they got some cool stuff like
Wera, could I buy that?
KMS.
One thing about Wera, I will say, yeah, Wera is a German tool company. If you guys don't know, it's like pretty cool. They have like really kind of like knick-knacky kind of tools. Like they all work the same. Like it's a ratchet set, but it has like, it's got a swivel, but if you push it in, it's not swivel. And on the sockets, it has like a knurl, so you can tighten it. And all the sockets are color coded. It's got like a lot of like cool features.
Like the quarter drive extension is rounded off, so like every socket has a bit of like mobility and like
until you push it in, and then it locks it in.
Yeah, like everything's so tech. Like
it's cool, but like I do find like they just kind of look a little bit childish because of all that shit. Like they have all these colors and all these things and numbers, and it just doesn't look like a tool set. You know what I mean? Like I think it's good. Like it's very like
that is what matters the most. Is how it looks in the garage.
But they also make a ratchet that's designed to be used as a hammer.
Oof,
they specifically sell it as a ratchet / hammer.
Oh, that's pretty great. All right. I grow.
And they have super comfort grips.
Okay, good. We got another question. We're not going to talk about tools the whole time.
Good.
Let's get out of
We
here.
should just talk about tools the whole time. You just don't have
I've
anything to
lost
input.
I mean, that's a really good subject though. Tools. It's a fucking important ass subject, man.
Totally.
It's like you're going to work on your cars. Like,
no, right? It's just like, no,
I'm not. I'm just gonna fucking. It's like
bring it to SerialNine.
Yeah, exactly.
Has all these slick tools. Yeah.
This is like when.
One thing I will say, which I do feel. So no. I don't want you to get away from tools yet, man.
Yeah, I don't either, man.
So jump packs. Like always like go to Canadian Tire, buy a jump pack, like kind of works. Like buy the best rated one on Amazon. Like
sucks.
Like literally like not even like the best rated, like do Google searches to find the best one and then like get it, and it kind of works. And like buy this one from Snap-on. Mind you, it is like 10 times more expensive, but it's like you can jumpstart every car 100 times. Like we literally never charge this thing. Charge it.
Shreds. And it's small. It's not big at all. It's like the size of like a
brick, like a masonry brick.
Yeah, it's basically like the size of a masonry brick, and it shreds. Like you said, we've probably charged it twice ever, and it's like it will start anything, man. Like it's legit.
That is one thing where I've just been like, this was 100% worth the money, and 1,000% better than any consumer product, if you will.
Yeah,
it's also 100% better than most of the other Snap-on doodads that like say Snap-on them, but they don't actually work that good. Like as far as the electronics.
Lost our Snap-on sponsorship for sure.
We're promoting the jump pack, bro.
Yeah. Hopefully your dealer doesn't listen to the podcast.
And I will say though, pliers, 100% Snap-on, man. Snap-on pliers are nuts. It's like, remember when we got that pliers set? You're like, like fuck, I don't know. And then you use it, and it's like, whoa, like it actually just grabs what you want it to grab, and it holds the living shit out of it. Like you can just
like
grab
every time I've ever used pliers before that, it was just like, what it's supposed to do, but it always just slips out or doesn't work. And then when we got these pliers, it was just like, this is what I wanted to do. Oh my God, it just does it. Like,
Hey, who makes your whose vice grips do you have?
Vice grip is vice grip.
We have vice grips, but they're maybe we should try Snap-on vice grips, because honestly, I've never used a vice grip that like is actually that good.
I watched you use one the other day, and you got it first try, and I was very impressed. I've never seen that. Anyway.
Oh yeah, on the bolt there. Yeah, I mean that worked pretty good.
Yeah, it worked great. This conversation is the equivalent of when Cedric approached me at a car show and asked about photography, and Kevin was like, "Nah, I'm good," and just walked away mid-conversation. He's like, "I don't give a fuck." And the difference is I can't get up and walk away from the tool.
Oh, you know what I will say about that was, because to me, Cedric was trying to push your buttons. He was doing that Cedric thing, and he was just like going to sit there and ask you questions until you figured out which questions annoyed you, and then go down that hole more.
He totally does that.
But he was doing it already, and it was already bothering me. And I could walk away.
I guess he didn't see that I fucking loved it. I didn't care. Ooh, the brutal mistake is never talk to me about a thing that I like, because then I'll just corner you and start a podcast about it and make 34 fucking episodes.
Yeah, so we should talk about Black Friday.
Can we do that at the end?
Yeah,
I was
I
gonna
know.
say,
I'm just,
you cut that off. You're like, we got to stop talking about this. Well, I felt like we were still going strong, but then I
About
looked and I'm like, it was only 14 minutes in
yeah,
about
but
tools.
that's
So
fine.
now we got to
That's
fill like
usually-
the remaining hour and 45 minutes with like
Oh,
whatever
I'm
this
not
next
worried.
question is.
It's funny how well I have a few more questions,
Okay.
and it's funny that we always manage to do it, and I always have to cut it down. All right, so this is from the username is H1LLSON. So I guess it's Hilson.
Hilson?
I don't know.
Yeah.
okay.
It's very nice. They reached out. They said, podcast question. Why did SerialNine stop part development for the X7? Pause. The podcast is awesome. Best auto one yet, which made me feel
Nice.
very nice.
That
Now-
does feel nice.
There's a follow-up. It says, I said, great question. Let me ask them tomorrow because it was asked to me yesterday. And it said, sounds good. I bought an X7 4 years ago because of SerialNine. Would love to see more X7 stuff, bushings, arms, etc., all that stuff. And I said, I'll let them know. And then, so here's the question. Why did you stop?
It's just not enough support, man. I mean,
it feels like we're at the point now where we could make the X7 bushings again, but it feels like the market's so small.
so we basically were the first people to make X7 and X8 products. We made, what we felt was like a good product. It's like to the SerialNine standards. Other companies came in and made the same products, but like at a lower level / cheaper price. And I mean, unfortunately, the Cressida crowd is not exactly the most like baller crowd or whatever you want to call it. I mean, there definitely are some people, especially now, that spend a lot of money on Cressidas.
Yeah, I think that, like the Cressida market, what we're talking about though was, like when we lived together, this is before we had a shop, like
Yeah.
we weren't doing it full time. We couldn't service the market properly.
Mm-hmm.
Other companies did see that. Other companies stepped in.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of people were left hurt because like they thought that, they were going to be able to get our stuff and like it was going to be sick, but like we couldn't really do it. And then when we were trying to, like start the real company and I had my crazy X7, it got to the point where I was like, all right, well, like, am I going to make it a whole rear subframe that will take a different diff and accept custom control arms and do all that? Are people going to be willing to spend $4,000 on this rear setup?
X7.
Yeah, and that only is the people who want to drift with 18s. Then there's the whole market of people who want to run 14s or, like that don't want any of that stuff that I'm trying to sell them. So it kind of just didn't make sense for the business. Like there was bigger markets that were less saturated.
Yeah, it's like we sell, 5 or 6 IS300 control arms. I mean, not even 5 or 6, like 10 IS300 control arms at least to one X7 bushing, whatever. 10 IS300 bushing sets to like one. I mean, shit, it's probably even more than that, but like, you know what I mean? Like we basically had X7 and 8 bushings and would just kind of not really sell them.
I mean, what I will say though now is like in the beginning, we also didn't have any capital, you know what I mean? So it was like, well, you can't really throw a couple $1,000s at having Cressida bushings on the shelf.
Mm-hmm.
But like now it does feel like, we could do that for those people who do want to have those SerialNine parts. It does feel like that could be a thing,
For your
also, we had developed the 5-bolt rear hub, which is pretty cool. I mean, it wasn't like a fully billet whatever back then, but I mean, we could make the absolute or the actual 5-bolt billet rear hub. But I mean, like that's like how many X7 guys even want to go 5-bolt? Like none now.
And then
it's
also like things, that's 1/3 of a problem. It's like you still have the stub axle going through the control arm on the other side, and then you still have these tiny CVs. And then on the and then you have the 7-inch diff. It's just like all of that needs to change if you have a big power, big grip setup. But that's only one person's style. Like there's still that super low 14-inch, do everything to make the car as low as possible style, and they want nothing to do with it. So
it's one of those things where it's like SerialNine style is a style that like maybe people like, maybe people don't like, but like, for us to develop the parts for the guys that aren't into the SerialNine style, maybe just something we're just not going to do. I mean, we had the coilovers. We definitely made like the nicest set of X7 coilovers like on the market for sure. we sort of dropped them like the last year or something, just because like they just don't really sell very much.
And
we couldn't get them made properly. That's one of the things
that's
too.
honestly more of it. What it was is like the turnover wasn't happening enough that the production knew what was going on. So like all of a sudden you'd be like, all right, I need this, and then they would be like, well, how do we put this? How do we put this together with your parts off the shelf? And it was never right, you know.
Yeah, so that's the answer to that.
Good. Do you miss it?
X7s?
Yeah.
When I see Eric's, I do, and when every time I see one, I'm like, yo, and I feel like sort of yearn for that car a bit, but like, I don't know. There's always something new. I'm kind of like,
Yeah, it's a big commitment, man. Like when I saw Eric doing his stuff, I was like, yo, it's like a nice car and shit. Like I always love those cars like that. That was my first, like, that's what made me fall in love with Cressidas really, is like, I used to see the car every day. I had no idea what it was. And then I eventually just bought one and I was like, yo, this is like the best car ever. And then we made parts for it and like all this stuff, developed that. And that's what we started drifting. It was like, cool. I think X7s are rad, but like, do I have, 20, 30K to throw at an X7 and like X amount of hours when I could build 5, 6, 7, 8 other cars that I've always wanted to build? Like, I kind of had an X7. It's pretty cool. Kevin had a pretty cool X7. I guess I just don't love them now. Maybe even an X8 I'd probably have over an X7, but like I don't even love X8s that much anymore.
Well, all right. That's kind of romantic and a little bit sad. All right. Dylan Nagy, username Dylan_Nagy, wrote a question. All very long, and it was very nice. Been listening to the podcast since the beginning, really likes it. Works in like a custom machine fab type industrial repair owned shop, whatever, manufacturing company.
Mm-hmm.
So my question for Kevin and Gerard is, and then he put in brackets, because I don't see this side of things at my work and I'm interested how this applies to cars specifically. Legally, what does it take to be allowed to manufacture, produce, and sell parts for cars that in most cases are very important pieces of cars, reliability and safety? Is there some sort of standard or safety that needs to be okayed by someone in a legal position, brackets, a lawyer, before the part is put up for sale? Do you have a standard you need to meet for documented R&D?
It's like it's a giant gray area.
It's for race use only, isn't it?
Off-road race use, yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, like, yeah, if you want us to say that, like, yeah, like there is no standard, it doesn't meet DOT, it doesn't meet any safety compliance, and that all the parts technically should never be ran on any public road ever. Like you have to click a box before you can buy our parts that says that, and then every product ships with a yellow paper that says like, hey, don't run this on the road.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a pretty industry standard for everything, though.
I went on the Megan website today too to try and look at those diff bushings for the FRS, and so it immediately popped up if I wanted to continue even looking at the website. Like the second you go on the website, it popped up.
For other places, like for example, Germany, they have TUV, which is like a big thing. I think Australia has like the engineering thing, and it's like, if you want to sell parts in this country and for people to actually run them on cars that are driven on the roads, like it has to be like it's a very high standard, right? I think that's why parts in Germany are super expensive. And that's why parts in Australia are super expensive, because like for modern cars are like, they have to get engineered. And like,
I think that's New Zealand, but yeah.
I think
Australia has to get engineered.
Do they?
Yeah. Yeah. Cause like, you basically build this car and then you want to drive it on the road, and it has to be like, taken to some place and looked at by some guy who can be like, okay, this is done well. This part, is good. But in North America, you can literally be like any Tom, Dick, or Harry and be like, hey, I'm going to make this part for this car and I'm going to sell it. And like, you can totally do that. And like, it can be a good part. It can be a shit part. And like, people can buy it, people not buy it, people can run it, people can drive their kids around in it. And there's no repercussions. There's no anything. Obviously, like if you get into an accident, you kill someone, you do this, it's like, it is a big deal. And and you shouldn't sell shitty parts. So, I mean, I guess our responsibility is to have a large safety factor and to actually give a shit about like the R&D and to actually put, test the parts in solid, on the computer and do FEA testing. We do real world testing. We overbuild all of our parts, but we are very cognizant of like the weight and strength to weight sort of factor. I mean, anybody can build a giant part that's never ever going to fail, but like at the same time, it's going to be super heavy, super bulky, super shitty, right? So,
and one thing I will say is like, it's not even about that. It's like currently, like you could have any car that has any amount of rust. Like you could you could go buy a car out of a field and then go to ICBC, get plates that day and just start driving it around. The car could have been sitting there for 50 years and they don't know or they don't care. It doesn't matter until something happens or till you get caught.
Yeah, and I feel like that's pretty standard for most of North America.
Yeah, even it feels like we're even a little bit stricter here than other places, but
yeah, I mean, you could literally drive some super janky, clapped out, pieced together, half done pile of shit in a lot of states in USA. So
like you make your whole own car.
And I mean, that's not even the thing.
Like,
it's like
people are welding cars together. There's like a Delica going around that's got two rear drive axles in BC right now. Like people post photos of it all the time. It's like,
and I mean, also like with the whole stance thing and everybody trying to make their car super crazy. It's like people have just, and it's the world of DIY, man. It's like, not only are you don't even need to buy my parts. You can literally take the factory parts on your car, cut them into 4 pieces and like, MIG weld them back together and be like, yeah, this is done. It's good. I'm driving it on the road. And it's like you may not know how to weld. You're using like a 110 welder. It's like a piece of crap. You have no idea what heat, like what heat setting it's supposed to be on. You have no idea what penetration is. You have no idea what engineering. You literally just want your car to have like 15,000 degrees of camber and like scrape the ground. But like, you can do that. But like, is it safe? Absolutely not. You know what I mean?
But this is a big question. You could also repair your car incorrectly.
Well, like you want to like twist your mind around this. It's like you could sell an engineered part that the government has approved. Yeah. But if a non-engineered approved mechanic puts it in and does it wrong, it doesn't matter how shitty the part or how great the part is if it's installed incorrectly.
Yeah, absolutely.
So like 90% of the dudes aren't paying a shop to install them.
Yeah. And that's the thing. It's like it could be a very, very simple part, like an RCA or like even a factory fucking ball joint, man. Like you can get an OEM Lexus ball joint, put it in, use the old bolts, don't torque them properly, ball joint fails, you die. Like not you die, but like, the wheel's going to come off and it's going to go into the fender. You're going to crash the car, probably write off half of it, may or may not get hurt. And like, that's the factory part off that car that's been engineered to the nth degree. But like you just didn't put it in properly, Or
you have like well-experienced drift friends who have done tons of things on their car and then the wheel studs just snap while they're driving down the road because
it's a Nissan.
Yeah, because it's a Nissan and that shit happens. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, like even the best mechanics, like shit goes wrong sometimes.
I guess the benefit of building really great parts, or if you want repeat customers, you should build great parts so that 1, they come back because they appreciate great parts, but 2, if someone injures himself or dies, you can't sell them more parts. So there you go.
I mean, one thing I will say is that like when a customer comes to you and they're like, yo, like your shit's fucked, like blah, 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 blah. It feels good to be like, well, no, like you're 1 out of 5,000 people who have bought this and you're the only one who's ever had that problem. So I think it might be a you problem.
Yeah. What did you use to install this impact gun? Maybe not, like.
Oof. That probably stings a little bit. Hey, that really just gets them where they. Wow. I'm going to leave a review. Yeah, I do think that's an interesting question, I do think that we all.
But it is an industry standard. Like it's like across the board. That's what everyone says and does. They're just like, You're allowed to do what you want to do. The land
Yeah.
of the free, you know.
And you're allowed to spend, but this is the same. I know we've had the conversation about real wheels versus fake wheels, and then our friend at Rare Spec was like, he doesn't trust fake for like wrapped wheels because they break.
That's the
like,
funniest shit.
But anyway, but that's the thing is like there are sometimes those things where you're allowed to spend and do what you want to your car. It is pretty wild when you actually think about it. It's like I could go change my brakes and put the pads.
I mean,
in
I don't know. I have a question though. It's just like, I don't know, if you're buying Rock Auto tier 1 tie rod or ball joint, is that held to a standard?
Well, I don't know.
Right?
No, it isn't.
I don't think so. I don't know. I don't think there's any governing body standardizing or
like
checking
jobber parts.
a
So,
jobber
and I mean,
part.
that's the thing. Is like, could you imagine what type of program they'd have to quarantine any, like, first of all, to like check, first of all, to find, to even like find all the vendors, and then to check all the vended products, and then to like man, it'd be impossible, dude. Impossible.
Yeah.
I don't even know how they do it in Germany.
That is pretty wild, hey?
Because like you can just order parts off eBay in Germany now. Like, how does that even work? You know what I mean?
You know, like Japan or Australia, it's like you go through the inspection and they inspect it. So it's just like, it doesn't matter like where you got it or how you got it, or it's like you have it and you got it,
Yeah, and now it's like you can't drive your car on the road.
Yeah. And I mean, it was always there was always that point, regardless of where you are, where you would take your car to a shop and they would do something to be like, no, I want it lower, or I want it louder, or I want it blah, blah, blah. And they're like, I'll do this, but you can't say that we did it for you. You have to say you did it yourself. And it's like,
Do you remember when stretching tires was like a big deal? Like a lot of tire shops wouldn't do it. It'd be like, no, fuck that. That's like a 9-inch, like a 225 and a 9. Like, that's not right. You know what I mean? And then like
a tire shop that wouldn't sell me tires that were 10 mil different in width because my car didn't come with them.
Yeah, I mean, now it's like nobody cares because everyone's like done it for so long. And if you don't do it, they're just gonna take it somewhere else. So you might as well use the business. Might
as well make that money.
You know what I mean?
God bless the person who was like, nah, fuck it. You get it. I'm stretching your tires.
Yeah.
That pioneer saved the scene. All right. The follow-up question.
So Cheetah brand is the best blaster.
Yeah.
All right. A follow-up question from Dylan_Nagy was additionally, why don't you guys, when he says, why don't you guys, I meant, it's not me. I don't do any of this. So why don't you guys make any UCF 30/31 parts? Signed, a curious Celsior owner.
Yeah. Because there's two avenues I can say this. Because the truth is, we always wanted to, and it was going to be the next thing after like the UCF 30. But you want to hear some hilarious shit? We haven't dropped anything new in like 5 years. It feels like. I mean, we've done the knuckles now, but our development of new parts kind of like dried up real fast there. It felt like.
I mean, we have a ton of new parts now, though.
No, that's what I mean. Now we have we got we got more developed parts than we know what to do with now. We have the opposite problem nearly.
Yeah, the thing with previously and why we didn't develop the new parts you're saying is we were playing catch up on making, like, actually keeping the parts that we already make in stock / refining the production processes of those parts.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a big deal when you like make parts and then you go from like a I make parts company to like a I sell a shit ton of parts company, and you're like, oh wow, like maybe these parts I made weren't like the best way to make these parts. You know what I mean? So it's like, you want to make in stock and sell more parts, you have to figure out how to make said parts more efficiently or more cost effectively or more quickly or all of the above. So
if you had an angel investor that came along and was like, you can develop parts, 3 new cars, what 3 new cars would you choose?
Fuck. Do we already make the ones for the Z?
I would say we don't.
Yeah.
Like, they're not on the website.
No.
We don't sell them. That would be one. Definitely.
Z33, V35.
Yeah.
All right.
I honestly feel that I would just choose the IS250 over the UCF 30. But
yeah,
the UCF 30,
we do get a lot of requests for 30 parts.
We do, and we always have. And one thing I will say though is the rear lower is like bit more complicated with an arm because it has like a sideways ball joint in it.
Similar to a 147.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we have the capabilities now to sort of produce or to develop and produce anything very quickly. The main thing we lack now is the capital. Whereas before, maybe we didn't also have the means to develop and produce things on like a level that we wanted to. Like if somebody were to say, hey, I'm going to give you 500 grand to sell 3 times, 4 times more, I'd be like, yeah, sure. No problem. I can do that 100%.
Yeah, that's what I meant when I said an angel. It's
Yeah.
a real fun term for you.
I don't think 3 chassis is going to do it though.
I just want to know what you would choose, whatever. Like if you were like, so you named 2, IS 250, but isn't that covered? That's not covered by the crown?
No.
That is, that is.
Oh yeah, the crown is,
yeah.
So that is one that is going to
But we don't make any of those parts for that vehicle yet. We don't make any of the parts. Yeah.
Kevin
so that's
is the
why
king of crowns now.
It's
so.
the next, that's why it makes sense to be the next one. And then the third one, like, I don't know.
So I feel like the 2 that you answered are the things that you're well on the way.
We've already talked
we definitely got those.
Yeah. So I want the fun answer that you guys haven't decided on together.
I mean, I don't know. It feels like maybe the UCF 30. We're currently working on some FRS parts.
I'm going to say Z34 / V36 because that also covers the Fuga. It also covers the M45, the M56, the FX series, which I mean people seem to want to modify. But yeah, it basically covers all the current Nissans, which is kind of like
maybe it's time to make some A90 parts.
Yeah, I mean honestly, I'd move to a different chassis. Like if somebody were to say, "Hey, I'm going to give you $500,000 to develop, like to grow your business," I would just go, "Okay, let's do all the Nissans. I'm going to move to Honda. I'm going to move to Subaru, and then." That's what I'd do.
You skipped Tesla. There's so much. I don't know.
Okay, yeah, I guess we would do Tesla too. We have been kind of humming and hawing about that.
There's so many of them. They're all white.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that's a market, but I just don't feel like it's that. I mean, it's good to be the first and all that shit, but like,
we're definitely not the
people. First. Well, I meant the first in a certain category. I don't think there's currently people. Like the amount of people that are like stancing and like basically cambering the shit out of a Tesla is probably very small. You can probably count them on fucking 2 hands, as opposed to the people doing that to Hondas, as opposed to people doing that to Subarus, as opposed to people doing that to Nissans. For every one Tesla, there's probably 10 V36s or 10 Civics or 10 fucking STIs or whatever Subaru. I don't even know anything about Subarus.
Yeah, I also feel like that's the whole like it's cheaper to do it to those things. Like the cars are cheaper, the products are already there to do it. It's not like if right now you were like, yo, I want to like stance my Tesla, you're spending so much, I bet,
Yeah. I mean, we do have a local guy that literally asked us just the other day to be like, hey, I want to put air. I'm putting air on my Model 3. Can you guys put it on for me? And I said no, because we don't do that anymore. But like, I mean, that's probably a guy who wants to camber his Tesla.
Yeah. But honestly, wouldn't be bad R&D probably.
Yeah. Be like, hey, we're going to sell you this front upper arm, rear upper arm. And
I bet, just give that to Satoshi and Soha. They'd be so stoked.
Yeah. We choose the wheels and the setup, like the fitment.
Yeah.
And then you guys pay for it and you can run it and like flex like you own it. Like flex like you thought it up.
Looks like you own it because you do.
Because you do.
Well, I mean, like
pay the bills. That is, I get it though. Based on our last episode, the mastermind owns it.
Yeah, Gerard owns it.
Gerard owns it. That's intellectual property.
No, we own the look. That's what I'm saying. Is like we own the style. We own the look. Right. They own the car.
Yeah. Okay, I get it. It's funny though because there are so many Model 3s in the city and they're all white. And I just imagine at some point after they're done with their first owner, they'll go to their second owner or their third owner. And that's when they're going to be like, yo.
Exactly. On the side of the road, fucking broken down, probably.
No, cambered with 2 face wraps.
2 face. Fucking the real Harvey Dent. But no, yeah, because it'll be like, man, I really want this Tesla and it's fine, but it's white and everyone has a white Tesla. Or there's like 3 colors it feels like you can get a Model 3 in.
And then you
And
just
then
wrap
so
it, man.
Yeah, but
Apparently, all those white ones are just the full peasant model, which I mean, it makes sense.
Well, no,
You want
every
it to-
Tesla comes white, and if you want any other color, it costs more.
Really?
Yeah,
yeah, that makes sense. So
Are you sure it doesn't come in like at least 3 colors that like you don't have
I'm
to?
It's a
pretty
black.
confident it comes
You'd probably
in
have to
like
pay.
That is a totally ridiculous way to sell a car. That's like the fucking
Seems to be working for them, Gerard. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't
no.
agree.
To me, it makes sense because then every time you see a white one, you're just like peasant.
Peasant.
So that silver one that I saw, then that dude spent the money because that looked pretty good. I was like, "Yo, a silver one?
No
What the
mercy
fuck?"
for peasants is what you all would say. And but at some point, these cars will come to an owner that'll be like, I really like this car, but I want to stand out. I want to be different. I'm going to change it and like build it.
Yeah, and
And
they'll get a
I do,
wrap.
and we've had that conversation before. But it's like, or they're
Maybe.
going to lower it and put wheels on it and do dumb shit. They'll do
Yeah.
like dumb shit. I'm doing air quotations, or they'll do like the real dumb shit, like a
Maybe.
two-face wrap or whatever. But
Maybe when I move to South Surrey and I have to drive like fucking long, like way longer, maybe I'll have to get a Tesla so that I, don't have to pay for gas / drive the fucking thing. And then we can camber it and I'll do all that stuff. We'll see how good the autonomous driving works when it's got like 7 degrees of camber and like no suspension travel. Just like bouncing all over the place. The radar's like freaking out.
If you get a Tesla, we have to end this podcast.
If I get a Tesla, I'll get a tattoo that says fucking loser. Or sell out or something like that.
Oh man, Gerard really loved the Porsche Taycan. He got him a white Model 3. And
Well, remember what I said? I said nobody wants a Model 3.
Yeah,
but that's what they can afford. You know what I mean? Like obviously, I just buy a Taycan, base model Taycan. But like, who knows? Like a modded Model 3 may be better.
I mean, this is the opposite of the conversation that when Kevin and I were like, you can only have what you can afford. You're like, no, nobody wants that.
No, but I'm just saying, like, now that we're going to like
it.
modify it and do all this other stupid shit to it, like maybe that's what makes sense because that's the car that people have. You know what I mean?
My God. Welcome to like episode 3 of this podcast.
This is what we talked about when it's like, this is what buying a JDM car. It's like, you get the cheapest one with the OEM lip kit.
Yeah.
That's the same thing. It's like, you get the white Tesla because the cheapest, because you're gonna fuck it up anyway.
Yeah, I'm not opposed to that, but I feel like that's what I was saying from the beginning.
I would fully just want to ruin it though, for sure.
Yeah, it would be real fun.
Yeah, for sure.
But I mean, that's the thing. We can just like get the arm, make arms, put them on Mickey's car.
But what happens when it scrapes? Can you do that? Because you can't do that.
What, scrape a Tesla?
Yeah, you can't.
We'll make body armor. Duh.
Why can't you scrape a Tesla?
Because the
Battery
batteries have
packs. It's
3
a
millimeters
cell
worth of
Fucking leak
deflection.
ion battery acid.
No, like it'll fucking die.
You're talking about
So
the
you
Taycan,
can't-
not the Tesla.
But I mean, the Tesla's the same.
So
Tesla's the same.
maybe they got more clearance. But yeah,
No,
make
that's not what he
body
said.
armor.
I mean, so then it's lower?
A skid plate, yeah.
I mean, sure. I don't know. It all sounds pretty dumb to me. Yo, but that would make for pretty decent content. SerialNine fucks up a Tesla. So we get a Tesla.
Yeah.
We get the Tesla, we dump it, we camber it, we drive it, it breaks. We somehow try to fix it, figure out that like you can't actually fix a Tesla. And then we just throw it in the garbage because that's where it should be in the first place.
I would like the plot.
Then we put a
twist that
Jay-Z
Gerard
in it,
falls
and then
in
it's our
love.
new drift car,
Yeah.
and we continue developing it, but like sell all of the electric shit.
I like the plot twist that Gerard falls in love with it for some reason. It's like, yo, I can't believe I lived without a Tesla. Anyway.
But that Rivian though, that Rivian SUV, that's what I have my eyes on.
That's
that
what you have
is-
your eyes on.
Oh, yeah.
How
Man.
many SUVs do you need, Gerard?
Well, I mean, obviously you'd replace mine with that one.
Here's a funny thing that happens in my life. Now my friends will ask me car questions,
Yeah.
which they always kind of have. But then if I hum and haw about it a little bit, they're like, just ask Gerard or Kevin. They'll know the answer.
Yeah. Okay. What's the question?
One of them was my friend Libby. She was, I don't know if this will go on the podcast, but it was still funny. She has a new RAV4 and the dealership wanted to sell her. It was like, hey, we'll sell you new wheels and put winter tires on it. And this was like, for the cost of like, must have been like $2,200. And for 3 years, we'll change your wheels for you.
Mhm.
for
Do
free
they
every time.
store the winter?
No,
Yeah,
boots?
they do.
don't. I don't.
What?
Well, I don't know if this has its storage on it. I didn't think it did.
If it
Sometimes
had
they do.
storage,
Or for $1,200, she could buy the winter tires, but then they would charge her to swap it to
her other wheels every
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, how much do they charge you? Like that feels like a basic equation to figure out. Like
Yeah, I had to go through.
depending on how much they charge you over the 5 years or 3 years or whatever you just said, then you could figure out
Yeah.
exactly which one's a better deal.
But no, there's no in my opinion, there's no situation in which you should remove tires and install tires ever. Like just buy the set of wheels and then have the whole other set to switch over.
It's not like they take up any less space.
Yeah,
Exactly. And also, because to take off or to install tires is not exactly like it's not just like putting your shoes on. It's like you stretch the shit out of the bead. You do this. Like one guy could be paying attention. He puts the bar or the lever in too far and compromises the sidewall. There's always that sort of situation. It's like the more you install or reinstall or take off a tire, it definitely affects the life or the quality of the tire. And like you just don't want to do that. Yeah,
and that's
I do have the math equation for you. It would be $1,292 for just tires and $150 each time I swap them.
Yeah.
Or $2,225 for the full wheel, and they would change them for free during my regular maintenance.
And then, sorry, how many times to swap?
You'd have to swap them twice a year, right? At $100.
I mean, I don't even give a shit how much cheaper it is to do the other one. So what I would do is I would take the snow tires and put them on the stock wheels, and then buy some nice wheels for the summer. That's what I did on Cat's van.
That's also what I said you would do. I was like, Gerard's move would be.
Yeah. Because that allows you to basically, because you're spending money on wheels anyways. So like then you at least get nicer wheels for your, 70% of the time.
And they're charging you $1,000.
I probably also maybe wouldn't even buy the tires at the dealership because
yeah, absolutely. Like
yeah.
You're getting hosed there too.
All right, I'll let her know. But yeah, that was my same thing is you have two separate wheels, but then all of us generally just would change our wheels ourselves, right? Like
exactly.
If you can't do the wheel change yourself, or
then are you going to pay them to do the wheel change?
You got to pay someone to do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, even 1010 now, they have storage, they have changeover. Like you just pay a nominal fee and they store it for the winter. They have a giant warehouse that just literally it's just filled with people's wheels and tires for winter.
Yeah, I wonder how much that is. Just like
it's not much actually.
Store some Yankees there. Yeah.
I know. I asked them and I was like, I was surprised at the answer. I can't remember what it was, but it was definitely like actually kind of reasonable. I was like, oh, it's not even that bad. Because I thought it'd be like $200 or $300 or something, which I mean seems exorbitant, like $300 a year to store your wheels. But like I guess it was more like $70 or $100 or something, which I was like, that's not even bad at all. Because like you don't have to deal with it. You just go there and get it changed, and then you just leave.
Drive away. Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like honestly, dealing with four wheels and tires is a big fucking deal.
Four wheels and tires. Like my mom had to do the changeover with her SUV, and like she couldn't put all four, no wheels. Yeah. Couldn't put the tires into the SUV all at the same time. She's like, how do I do this? I'm like, well, I don't know. Like maybe drop two on the Monday when you're going to bring two on the Tuesday when you're going to get the car done or whatever.
Yeah, it's a pain in the ass.
These
I mean, I got to change.
Sound like old math equations. Like if a train leaves the station.
Carol has 25 watermelons.
I mean, I gotta do the van pretty soon, and it's like it's already frosty outside, and I'm just like, I should probably have your winter tires on now. Like,
you can't drive that thing anywhere. All the highways are gone. Right
that's an October thing. You need those on by October.
Yeah.
The highways that you need them for don't exist anymore. So
you can still go to see the sky.
Here's a fun one. My friend Andrew Tuplin, I once broke his finger in Cuba. Fun story for another day. Needs to replace his Jetta. He has an old diesel Jetta.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah, he does. And I said, okay, what's your budget and what features are you looking for? And he said $30,000, 5 seats. Did you turn up your nose at $30,000?
I mean, that's a hard number.
How's that a hard number?
That's more expensive than all of our cars that we've got.
Yeah, but we're not normal people, man.
Yeah, I
but
know.
he's getting rid of an old Jetta.
Yeah, this is why this is going to be so much fun, because I'll tell you what happened.
Okay.
I tried to be a regular person, and then I went fucking car guy and gave the dumbest answer possible.
You buy an M5, bro.
That's
Like
not
a
what I
nut-
said. You'll fucking
97.
love the answer that I gave him, but I'll tell you after.
You know, $30,000, man. Buy a
30
JSX 100.
$30,000, 5 seats, under 80K, preferably 2015 or newer. What do you buy?
2015 or newer?
Yeah. Gerard, I can fucking answer this for you right now, but I'm not going to.
How? What,
Because
Tesla?
I fucking found the car. No. Because I've been around you long enough and listened to you talk about things long enough that I know what your next
But like,
car
what's this
will
guy?
be.
Like, what's this guy about? Where does he live? Like, does
He
have
lives in
kids?
Maple Ridge. He has 3 kids. He has a second vehicle, which is the same as Gerard's second vehicle. It's right.
Toyota Sienna.
Yeah, he
So
has
yeah,
a
they already
Toyota
got a
Sienna.
van, so he, like
He's
they
already
don't
got a
need like
van.
they don't.
So he
need,
doesn't want an SUV or anything. He wants a
He
sedan.
kind of sent me like a Volkswagen Touareg. Touareg, is that what it's called?
Touareg, yeah.
I was like, nah, that's whack.
Step 1, don't buy a Volkswagen.
Yeah, that was my thought.
You'll buy an Atlas.
It's an Atlas.
Yeah. That's Volkswagen. That's the big one.
That's the big one, yeah.
So he doesn't need that, but it should have 5 seats in it. This is fun.
Because like he obviously like he wants to enjoy his car, obviously.
Yeah, is he a car guy? Does he like to drive?
It seems like it's
No.
supposed to be more about a car for him that like if he needs
But
to, he could do the whole
kind
family.
of. So I let him drive my Aristo after the SerialNine like drift gala,
Yeah.
which was really funny because he didn't understand what turbos were. So when they like kicked in, he's like, "Whoa, what is that? Why does it do that all the time?" And I'm like, "You gotta like get it to the right place to do that." He's like, "Oh, this is great." He's about Gerard's age, so that as well.
I feel like this guy should get like a Audi station wagon.
You think? That wasn't where I went. Because
I mean, if he likes the turbo, he wants to shift the gears. He's got a family. He still needs
Shift
to
the
kind of.
gears.
I don't think
Like
he cares
manual?
about shifting.
No.
the gears.
Yeah.
I don't think he cares about that.
I know exactly
I mean,
what
like, I
Ryan
don't
thinks
know.
I would say.
What?
Q50.
Yeah. The red.
Oh, I mean, red would be sick, but even just sport, man.
No, I found the red ones for like the red 400s for like 30,000. I was like,
Really? That's pretty cheap, man.
yeah, and I was like, here you go,
Yeah,
400
that's a car.
horsepower,
That's a
twin
car.
turbo.
For sure.
And he's like, but the deal breaker for him was that it needed premium, and he's like, I don't want to put premium in a car because he's been putting diesel in a Volkswagen for so long.
Yeah, so he's not a car guy.
No, he's not a car guy. He's like likes great value is his thing.
That guy should buy a fucking Camry.
That was my answer. That was my first answer.
I mean, that's an amazing car. First of all, you wouldn't need to spend 30K.
You don't need to put premium.
If you wanted to spend 30K, you could get a 2018 Camry, which would be great. You'd probably buy like a, I don't know,
Look at a hybrid.
TRD-ish, or a hybrid one. I mean, honestly, for 30K and 5 seats and like a family-ish car, I wouldn't buy a sedan. I would buy a crossover of some sort or whatever.
But
the only reason
if you already had a van, though,
you already have a van.
Yeah, sure. I don't know.
I guess Gerard did.
Like I mean, for me, I like the sedan for like myself, just because that's like me. But like, I could definitely get into like a crossover instead. Like if the Q50 red came in like a crossover-esque platform, like kind of like those AMG weird half, whatever the fuck those things are. It's like a small SUV, but it's like an AMG CLA 45 or whatever. They have like 500 horsepower. That's sick, dude. Or like basically any of the BMW like X4M or X, whatever those weird things are that are super fast and like SUVs. I'd still probably take that.
No, I would take the sedan. Like,
just because
I would definitely take the sedan.
Like if you dump a crossover, it's like fully sick because it's still practical and like
it still kind of looks awkward though.
Yeah. Also, but fuck you for like the longest time, like ramming Nissan down my throat and then like I find the Nissan that I'm also like, yo, this is probably the move.
But I mean, that's
you're
sick.
like,
also like now, like what do you want to call like SerialNine crossover kings?
Yeah.
Hey man, fuck, you gotta change with the times, bro.
Crossover kings.
But see, imagine. So the Q50, I don't know which Infiniti SUV is built on the Q50 platform. I think it's probably like the Q60 or whatever, QX50 or QX60. So like if you could have all that drivetrain shit in the, because like the FX, remember there was the FX35 and the FX45. So like the FX45 is basically the V8 rear wheel drive crossover version of the M45, which is sick. But I don't know what the equivalent Q50 version is, but that would be tight.
Though. I want to add this to the
QX50.
conversation. If you Google, or if I Google Q60S red sport HP, the top result just comes up and it says 400 ponies. And I just love that. That's the first thing.
400 ponies.
It doesn't say HP. It says ponies.
400 ponies. Every Q60 is powered by a twin turbo 3-liter V6. Yeah.
Making 400 ponies.
Like, honestly, I looked at that.
How many squirrels is that?
Fuck. I looked at that, and I'll be very honest right now. I was like, man, maybe Gerard's been right this whole time, and I've been shitting on him for no reason. But then I come on, and you're like, I'd get a crossover. So
no, but I'm saying if I was that guy, like for myself, I said for myself, I would get the sedan just because I like that shit. But like,
yeah, but I think he would be fine with the sedan as
well.
Yeah,
sure, then get the sedan. But like,
he was like, I don't need 400 horsepower. I'm like, you don't know that. But I did start on a Camry.
You know how many bus passes you could get for $30,000?
And also, like I do have a family. You know what I mean? I have 3 kids, and it's like it's kind of sick to have like a dumped like family vehicle. And like the sedan is kind of not a family vehicle. The sedan is kind of like a gentleman's sports car. You know what I mean?
Yeah, except I've been with you when you took your dumped wagon to go pick your kids up from school. So I mean,
yeah.
But Ryan could fully take his entire family around in any dumped sedan.
Yeah,
you just have a larger family.
Yeah, the Aristo works fine for that.
Yeah, no, for sure. Q50 be sick, man.
So when having this conversation, I spiraled very quickly out of control, and this is the problem of being
a car guy.
Is I tried to be very rational, and I was like Camry, and then I was like, and then like he kind of like asked questions. I was like, oh, you could get a Lexus, and then I was like on this Lexus thing, and then I was like, oh yeah, and he's like, yeah, and then I showed him an IS. I was like, you can get an IS, don't get a 250, get an IS like 350. And he's like, yeah. I'm like, oh, and then that's when I said like you'd have to put premium in it, and he's like, deal breaker. But then I was already off on my like tangent, and then I went to the Infinity, and then he was like, I don't want 400 horsepower or to put premium in a car. And then I called him a peasant, and that was
and now we don't talk anymore.
No. Again, I broke his finger in Cuba, so we still talk.
Yeah, you got that power over him.
Yeah, but it was he started with a Tacoma. He was like, I know you want me to get like the beige Tacoma. And I was like, nah, That's like too bad on like, there's no reason for you to have that, and it's awful on gas. Like you wouldn't like it. And then I went Camry, maybe a Prius, and then we went up to like the Infinity. But it's a slippery slope being a car guy whenever anyone asks you a question, because it's like you have to change your mindset when you talk to someone. You know, like,
I mean, dude, I said like an Audi. Like I would never in a million years buy that shit. But I was like, I don't know. He's like likes Volkswagen, so like get him like a nicer Volkswagen, I guess. Like,
but if I gave you $30,000, Kevin, what would you buy?
If I had to
get
5
cars for $5,000, and I had $5,000 left over to mod all of them.
Yeah, no. If I had to get like a 5-seater for $30,000 that was newer than 2015. Like I would.
I'd put a down payment on a Rivian and fucking make payments.
I'd maybe honestly like, I kind of want a Prius. I'd probably get a Prius.
Yeah. Would you mod a Prius, or would you just?
Hell yeah! There's no way I'm not modding anything. The only reason I'm buying any.
That's why I asked.
I modded the Echo.
Yeah, you did that sweet windshield mod where it doesn't.
Yeah, he drove it into a fucking couch. He modded the wheel bearing to be broken.
I mean, to be fair, the wheel bearing was broken and the windshield leaked when I got
it. Okay, good. So a Prius, that's what you'd get? Do you know which Prius you would get? Like a Prius C, a V, or just a regular Prius?
Yeah, the V.
Is that not the biggest like van-like one?
Yeah, man, that's obviously the sickest one.
Really?
I mean, I wouldn't really call it van-like, but.
Oh, I thought that's what the V stood for.
No, really?
No, I don't know. I like the regular Prius.
I like the C. Yeah.
See, like the cardigan or the fucking what is it?
But like,
Cardigan.
okay, I mean, I think they're cool too, and I like I follow a bunch of dudes in Japan that have modded Priuses and stuff, but like how rewarding or enjoyable do you think that's actually to drive?
I drive a Prius every time I go back to Saskatchewan because my dad.
And how is it?
I mean,
I will say there's many opportunities where you can't drive your car anywhere near the like limit of enjoyability of the car.
Here's what I'll say. And Kevin's right.
I mean, yes and no.
So
like, do you turn the car ever? Do you turn it?
But Gerard,
turning's enjoyable.
Every turn is enjoyable.
But maybe it's like a VIP car. It's the aesthetic is the enjoyability.
Yeah, like do you look back on when you park the car?
I guess.
Like you and I are definitely both about like we want both. That's like those VIP guys in Japan will just take the base model car and make it a VIP car. But it's like, well, no, it's like I need the 2J turbo or the 1J turbo version of that car, or else there's no point in even having that car to even start with. So it's like, yeah. And then we make it 6-speed, and then we do all the other shit. So it's like we obviously enjoy all of those aspects that make the car better. And
but Kevin's not wrong in that saying, like, do you enjoy every minute of driving every car? No, like when I drive the Prius in Saskatchewan, that is a sense of like, oh, I've been driving a 4Runner for the last 6 months, and now I'm driving a Prius. And
that's like saying, yeah, I mean, that's...
what's the difference in the level of enjoyment? The level of enjoyment is the amount of money that I'm saving on gas, right? Like the Prius is probably fucking faster than the 4Runner. Like,
yeah, absolutely. Probably fucking better to drive, period, in every single way. And it's also like, fucking 20 years newer. Like, yeah,
it is.
But, so it's like, come on. I
mean, I get it. I wouldn't be opposed to driving a Prius like that. I'm with Kevin on that. If the Prius was my only car, I would probably have that becomes the problem when the car is your only
car. Exactly.
Because the conversation, and we've had this before, is always like, if I ask Kevin, hey, what do you drive? And if this was 6 months ago, he wouldn't be like an Echo. He'd be like, oh, I have an Altezza and a Crown. And maybe I'm going to buy another Crown. Like the Echo doesn't even, and a Dyna, like the Echo doesn't really enter the equation, even though that was like your commuter car. So anyway, Kevin, you'd get a Prius, you'd mod it, $30,000 Prius V.
Jesus Christ, that sounds like the fucking worst financial decision in the world. Fucking hell.
You, to be fair, were like, you had a budget of money you could spend on a car, and you were like, nah, I'm just going to use it as a down payment for a more expensive car.
Yeah, but like, look what you're getting with that.
Yeah, but that's not a good financial investment either.
I mean, you don't know that.
Kevin's like
fucking better resale.
Owning the fucking Prius. He's not indebted to it. Doesn't owe him anything.
I'm buying a used vehicle, and you're putting 1/5 down on a new vehicle.
Yeah.
How is your resale going to be better?
No, I mean, yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Maybe it's not brand new. I don't know. I mean, sure as fuck going to be way more exciting. That's for sure. You know what I mean?
You've never even driven one. You don't know.
No, I'm not. But I mean, 0 to 60 in 3 seconds versus 0 to 60 in 13 seconds. You know what I mean? Like,
man, I don't know if those are the stats on either of those cars.
I guarantee you those are the stats on those cars.
All right.
Even if it's fucking 4 seconds. 4 seconds is fast as fuck. And like my truck does it in 6 seconds, and it's fun. You know what I mean? So like literally twice as fast as my truck. That's pretty cool. And I don't need to like drive it to like 100K, 200K or whatever. Even just pressing the gas to go from 0 to 30, 0 to 50, 0 to 100. That's the fun. You know what I mean?
So you're going to get a Rivian now.
I don't know, man. I mean, it's like pretty far away, but like
maybe.
I didn't know they made that 7-seater SUV.
The 2019 Prius is 9.6 seconds, bro.
Ooh.
That's like an 8.6 Corolla spec.
Yeah, why are you mad at the new Husky? Dave Vickers is gonna murder me.
You can totally. You know what the coolest part? You know what the coolest part of those cars are? Is you can watch where the power's going. Yeah. You know, like you could be like, "Oh my god, I'm regenning right now. Look at me regen. Oh my god,
I know,
sick."
man. You can use the little joysticky shifter thing and put it into like engine brake mode and get more.
That's so fucking cool.
Yeah, and then there's like no business underneath it. You can put your hand under where the gearbox is. Yeah,
Should be. Yeah.
Fucking wizardry is what that thing is.
Don't get me wrong. I like Priuses, but I don't think I'd ever spend money on one.
No, it would be very funny to watch you drive a Prius.
Like Prius, they're not that cheap either. I mean, there's probably like 20K for a Prius right now.
Yeah.
Like for like a decent one anyways. I will say though, as far as bang for your buck, those Infinities, G37, M56, M45, those cars offer like tremendous value because they're sort of slept on and like you get a lot of car for your money.
That's what I saw. And the person was like, it was in White Rock. It was like, oh, I do the oil every blah, blah, blah. And it's because it was like some dude that had the money to buy that car brand new, had the warranty, took care of it and cared about it. And now it's like a $30,000 car and it makes 400 horsepower and it's a turbo V6.
And that's stock.
Yeah, but most of them are all-wheel drive. So finding the rear-wheel drive is kind of...
Yeah, probably everyone who's buying that car probably is like, oh, we might as well go with all-wheel drive. It's
safer,
if I'm
going to spend the money.
I'm going to drive it in the winter.
But I mean...
what they sound like.
I wouldn't even be mad if it was, an all-wheel drive twin-turbo 3-liter, and then you mod it to make 500 horse. That's probably pretty fucking cool.
Yeah.
And like if you're not going to drift and stuff.
Well, yeah. There's only one way to find out.
It's a baby GTR, man.
Oh.
Well, that's good. Well, I was going to say, do you guys ever have like regular non-car people ask you for advice and then have
Never.
Honestly, I don't. Yeah, I feel that like it's not anymore.
I usually just like ditch right away. To like start talking to me about cars. They're not car people. I'm just like, talk to my hand.
Yeah.
You Kevin right out of that situation.
Well, I mean, what are you going to talk to them about? You know, it's like you're going to make pleasantries.
Well, I mean, a little bit. Like, it's funny now that you have to answer questions that my friends, the regular people have, and you're like, I don't want to answer.
No, I mean, I have no problem answering those because it feels like an unknown thing. But it's
if people ask you legitimate questions, it's fine. But they're like, oh yeah, so like my car's making this noise, and like, what do you think? And I'm just like, I don't know, man. Like.
I don't know. Like, you want to make it look dope? That's what you're talking to Gerard about. But do you don't? So when that does happen, so when it's not that, but if it's
I'll give you a current example.
Okay.
My sister-in-law was like, "Hey, I want to buy a new SUV." Blah 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 blah. They were like looking at the Bronco, and then they're like, "Hey, like, what do you think about the Atlas?" And I was like, "Well, if I could be honest, like, I hate everything Volkswagen." And then, so I'm like super biased. So then I like looked it up. I did like a little internet search and it would like came up and it was like, oh, like the Atlas, blah, blah, blah. And it was like showing me, all the stuff. And it was like, oh, it's like one of the more problem Volkswagens to have issues and like this, that. So then I told her that. And then my buddy who works at a Volkswagen dealership would talk to me. And then I told him, like, I'm like, this is exactly what I told her. He's like, oh man, they don't have any issues, blah, 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 blah. Like, and I was just like, man, like, of course you're going to say that. Like you work at a Volkswagen dealership, but like,
oh, does he work in the service department or is he a salesperson?
No, he's a salesperson, but he works across the country, so he's not making any sales on it no matter what. But he was like, no, it's a great vehicle and all this stuff. And I was like, well, like, how come the internet says that it's one of the more prone
problematic
to have issues, like, and I'm already like negative against Volkswagens myself. So like,
I just like hate when people like are so biased. Like,
but it's funny because you're like, you hate when people are so biased, but we're all biased. We're so biased that like we're buying, not to revisit too far into like in other episodes, we're buying like 20-year-old or 15-year-old cars because they came with certain engines. And then when people are asking us like pedestrian questions about cars, the bias like creeps in. Like we're just biased.
But that's the thing is I'm probably the least biased. Like, I'm going to tell you not to buy those cars. I'm going to tell you to buy like the newest. Yeah, I'll tell you to buy a fucking Camry. Sure. I'll tell you to buy a Q50. I'll tell you to buy a.
But I think we can all agree on the Camry. If I've ever learned anything from this podcast, is we all agree on Camry.
It's a safe bet. If you want to be an average kind of
fucking
cool dad.
Camrys are cool. Come on. Get a black roof.
Yeah, Camry's like a Canadian savings bond. Like, you're not going to lose. You're not going to lose, but you're not going to have any fun.
You can get them in all-wheel drive, which is very strange to me. I don't know.
They probably only did that because people like want to see all-wheel drive on the fucking spec sheet.
Yeah.
Dude,
Was it coming all-wheel drive? Yeah.
Dude, in 7 years, I'm gonna do my ultimate build, and it's gonna be like a '94 Camry wagon V6 5-speed dual rear
Turbo.
wiper. Yeah, it's gonna be so sick.
But you know that is
In
the
beige.
thing. You can get
I know.
you
I'm
can get
curious. No, I'm
turbocharged
curious. Yeah.
V6, all-wheel drive, Camry wagon, manual transmission, fucking 700 horsepower. It's absolutely possible, and it would be sick. What I was going to say is how can we talk, like, why are we allowed to talk for like an hour about this fucking car problem, but we can't talk for an hour about tools?
Dude,
We've been talking about this car
we
shit.
couldn't even talk for 15 minutes.
I know, we've been talking about this fucking stupid car problem for so long, and it's like we've literally talked about this exact shit so many times.
Fine. Talk about tools again. I was going to say, if we were running thin at the end, you could talk about your goddamn tools again.
I don't know. Is there not another question?
We've kind of already answered this one, but we can revisit it. Danny Polino underscore, Danny Polino, username is Danny underscore Polino SB at the end.
Like Aventador SV?
I don't know. SB,
I thought it was
as in
SB.
Bob. Yeah, as in Bob.
Oh, skateboard. Anyways.
Skateboard, yeah.
Speed it up here.
All right, fucking relax. Likes the show. Good. Wanted to be the FRS guest because we had so many questions about what an FRS owner was like. This is an old one, and we've kind of answered it, but we'll revisit it. Maybe you guys could talk about the do's and don'ts of livery designs, stickers. I feel like that could cause a good rant. You have ranted about it. Has your opinion changed on good livery designs?
I mean, it's so subjective.
Yeah, that's a safe answer. And not
that's not a Gerard answer right there. That's for sure.
Fucking miss me with that tribal weird fucking vine shit.
Tears.
Yeah, I don't like stroke. I don't like when they make all the. I don't like.
You don't like stroke. You're right.
Yeah, ooh. I don't like when the stickers look so. What's the word? Deliberately like matched. You know what I mean? Like this. It's like they look like they're printed. You know what I mean? As opposed to like just a traditional sort of like die cut sticker.
Yeah.
Aren't those wraps printed normally though?
Well, the wraps might be, yeah, but also like I remember back in the day, like dudes wanted us to do that, so we would die cut, the back sticker, and then we'd put the top sticker on the stroke or whatever it may be. You know what I mean? We've done all that. Yeah. It's like I don't like it. I think it looks like too much. You know what I mean? So maybe I'm just really like less is more.
Oh, are you? Because this harkens back to a conversation, and I will say this: doing this podcast, I was like, I don't understand why people like it as much as they do. And then I worked at SerialNine with you guys for a few weeks, I feel like, and I would come in, and we would have the exact same conversations we had on the podcast, but at SerialNine. And a perfect example of this is what I've learned. Is all the things you were saying, Gerard, check out until some dude rolls up with like a fucking two-faced Infinity G35 sedan. So we had a full-on argument at SerialNine about this G35, or was it G37?
G37. Yeah, it was a 7-face 5, whatever you want to call it.
7-face 5. And it was one of those cars that like split down the middle, so one half was like one thing, the other half was
different color, different wheels, different
wheel.
Yeah,
totally different car. Yeah. So profile of the car, if you looked at it from left to right or whatever, if you were on the other side of the car, looked like a different car. And this was very surprising to me. Gerard liked this car.
Yeah, so that was
cool. And then the one thing that does happen at SerialNine is you can tell when a conversation goes on too long, and Kevin's like, everybody needs to go and do work now.
So when 5 people have been talking about one car for half an hour, it's like, all right, can we do some work?
Yeah. That's the one thing. It's not a 2-hour conversation, but we had a giant argument. And so it's funny. You're like, you say all these things, Gerard, but then that G35 with a G37 face, I feel like fits in all faces of all the things that you stand for, from what you're saying.
But it's still very simple. It's just one side's one color and the other side's the other color. It's not like it has like...
It wasn't simple. The other side had a lot of shit going on.
Yeah, I just think it's interesting because like sometimes, like, I don't know, as a car aesthetic, designer or whatever, it's like sometimes you can't make that decision, man. Like, I want to paint my car green, like that's cool. But like, do I love that green? I don't know. It's a big commitment to paint a car. It's a big commitment to like design, to design the aesthetic of a car or whatever. And it's like,
I honestly feel it's even a bigger commitment to paint a car 2 colors.
Well, I mean, you're not painting a car 2 colors is straight up stupid.
That's what you're talking about. But
I'm talking about wrapping, man. Like it's like
wrapping is way less of a commitment for sure.
I do think though it's a life commitment of a statement you're about to make of yourself for having a fucking two-faced car driving around with like.
Yeah, I'll two-face the stage, yeah.
You will not two-face the stage.
And it'll be a sick drift car. People will just be like, "What the fuck?" Like,
there's no way.
That'd be so funny.
I think one thing that we did agree in that whole conversation though was that like a two-faced drift car could look pretty cool because it's so much out there, but it's like a street car, it's definitely way too much.
I was on the camp. I don't think I agree to that because I think I'm adamantly opposed to people who can't commit to one look. Like who can't.
It's not like you're not committing. You're just being more creative. You have more creative freedom.
I've seen a car that had a tear 45 degree. It was from like the left front to the rear right, and I think that was a drift car.
Did it have different wheels?
Probably not.
Yeah, I want all the wheels to match.
I mean, I feel like if it's the same wheels, it's just different finish or different color, I think it's fine. Like completely different wheels, I'm not down with that. I've seen dudes have that where it's like it has like, like emotions on one side or like whatever, it has T5Rs on one side and like T7Rs on the other side. I'm just like, I don't know about that. It's kind of weird. I mean, I just think it's like, it's interesting. And I'm not totally opposed to it. I like the two sides more than I like stroked fucking over livery and tribal shit for sure. Like give me 2 different colors with like simple graphics and shit on the side and like, contrasting colors on either side versus one color with like 80 million fucking graphics on it. And it's like just giving you a seizure because there's so many rips and tribals and logos and strokes and colors and blends and dragons and like, fuck off with that shit personally.
Dragons.
I mean, I kind of agree with that, but like I definitely take stroke over Two-Face. But yeah, I definitely don't want any like tribal dragon fire fucking shit.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, okay, so when I was doing
the other thing is someone could show me a tribal dragon fire livery and I'd be like, yo, that shit's bomb,
Yeah, maybe just some of it, I just don't like the actual execution of it. So like, I'm not opposed to a livery. I'm not opposed to like a Itasha. I'm not opposed to having, remember when I was thinking about the Aristo, I was actually, those geometric, when you have like I thought that would be kind of cool to have like some sort of weird geometric. It almost ties it back to like the Trom cars that had like the weird techno, like almost
that, like, circuit board. Yeah.
Like the circuit board. I thought that shit was cool. And then if you could maybe have sort of, like the geometric, I don't know, wolf or whatever it may be, but like just do something that's not the same thing as everybody else, man. Like I know that like livery design, obviously it's like probably pretty difficult to be so different these days because it's kind of all been done, but like I'm sure there's a lot of things that haven't been done. You know what I mean?
This is an interesting point. You're saying it's hard. I don't think that's the case. I think that there's a trend that is set and then it's on people to like, there's that sense of like someone sets a trend and then people get in line and follow a trend. I don't think that it's that everything's been done. I just think that it's
people just want to do the same shit. I agree.
Well, no, there's a formula to success.
Success being a relative term, man.
Yeah. But you know what I mean? Like, it's like, like what's hot right now? What's the trend right now? Well, X, Y, and Z. Well, if I do X, Y, and Z, then I'm on trend. So my answer to your question when I'm like, I don't like Two-Face, probably doesn't also lend myself to being like a trendsetter. But I realized a long time ago I'm not a trendsetter. It's funny how like popular GS like just JZSs are becoming.
Dude,
Are they?
you should be thanking Gerard. Your car's
Yeah,
gonna be
y'all-
worth $50K lately.
Y'all should be out here shaking Gerard's hand. JZSs. Man, you and Chaub shared that video of that car of the JZS drifting
Mhm.
around. And I was
Yeah.
gonna message you and be like, yo, that kind of looks like my car. But then I didn't want to be a douchebag.
It does kind of look like your car.
Yeah,
That's why
it
your car's
does kinda-
sick.
That's what, but I was like, yeah, this is fucking adding pennies and cents to my value. But
Gerard, you know what you should do? You should just make a video of clips of your car drifting and put it on YouTube and call it like Aristo Drift, because that's what people are gonna search up and try and like find shit.
Yeah,
And,
but
like-
you know what? There's not a lot of fucking footage of my car drifting.
there has to be footage.
There's
of
tons. Like
There-
there's just not as good as you'd like it to be. But if you just put up all the raw clips,
Mhm.
you know,
Yeah. Sounds like another project to add to my alimony board.
Yeah, exactly. One thing I was gonna say is I sort of Googled like steering angle and like the like evolution of steering angle and shit. And like there's a lot of like, you know, people like a lot of like big players basically said that, yeah, like Saito like changed the game. Basically he came in and like showed everyone that like 1200 horsepower is what you wanted. And also he had a bunch of angles. So it was like these like angle wars, like, you know, it was like 50 degrees and it was like, you know, like 60 degrees. And then all of a sudden like Wisefab came out and changed the game with like this like 70-degree shit. And everyone was still sort of like playing catch up like with that. And like even Osbo was like, yo, like I didn't have the horsepower, but like what we did with the Supra was to make it have a lot of angles. So like it looked cool drifting. And like we couldn't really keep up because like obviously with more angle, it's slower and shit.
yeah.
But then when Saito came in, he had all the angle and then he had like fucking 1200 horsepower. And like basically like nobody had ever seen or had a car configured that way and drifted that way. So like literally after Saito, everybody was playing catch up to that style. So it was like actually really fucking cool. Cause like, I don't know, I think Saito is like fucking sick, like the best.
So you Googled the steering angle and got the history of steering.
Yeah. Yeah. The evolution of steering angle.
That's pretty cool. So then Formula D didn't have anything to do with the 1200 horsepower.
No, it's fucking Saito. I mean, they had, you know, they were like around 5, 6, 7, 800 horsepower, but like from 800 to 1200 is a big jump. You know what I mean?
Yes. Yeah, it was at 800 when he showed up and with the 2J, right?
Yeah. And it was basically like, yeah, maybe nobody thought that they needed that, but then all of a sudden this dude comes in and shows you what you could do with that. And it's like, holy fuck, like, okay, maybe we all need that now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's the same thing with steering angle. People didn't know they needed it until some dude came in with 20 degrees more than you had. And it's like, well, shit, like.
They changed the barrier of entry, which is a thing that we have not mentioned on this podcast in some time.
Yeah.
Oh, it's interesting.
Yeah, so that's kind of cool.
Why were you Googling the evolution of steering angle?
Because I wanted to see what like a good number was.
What is a good
in regards? Well, I mean, it depends on what, you know what I mean? I think 50 degrees is actually a respectable number, but like, I think the respectable number now is about 60. So the closer we can get to 60 with our like our normal looking setup, I think is kind of like where I want to go.
How close are you to that with the AK-49s?
I think with our next mod and like the next things, I think we can probably get like 56 or like 50, something like that. 56 degrees, something like that, which I think is pretty good for a car that like looks totally normal. But like, yeah, if you want to have the full like crab look, then I guess you could get more.
Crab look.
Because we still haven't put like any sort of steering spacers in. You can run a 6 mil steering spacer and get more lock. You know, you can move the rack forward, you can get more lock with the same knuckles. There's a lot of things you can do with the same. You could probably get 65 degrees out of those knuckles if you did a bunch of other shit.
Interesting. Very interesting. You want to talk about tools some more, you guys? I feel like you'll really like that. What's your favorite tool of all time? What's the most useful tool you own?
My brain.
Oh, Gerard's coming in hot.
Another tool in the mental toolbox.
Do you think there's guys that are passionate about tools as they are about cars?
Everyone who's
100%.
passionate about cars is passionate about tools.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah. But like, I mean, more so, like, because like your tools are a means to an end for you to a degree.
Not really, man. We don't even use our tools. Not even close.
Okay. So it's just another thing that you're super passionate about?
Yeah, like our computer and the 3D printer are way more tools for the company than any of the hand tools, I feel.
Right. So they're just like a nice to have. But
yeah, we have all of the Snap-on and all of the Milwaukee, I feel, now because
you love it.
We want to. Yeah.
Because you're passionate about it.
It did feel like in the beginning when we were doing the labor, it was more necessary.
Yeah. When we needed them, we didn't have them.
When we needed them, we didn't have them. And now that we have the means, we don't really need them. But we have them.
Want them anyway. Wish
yeah.
fulfillment.
Do you remember when I bought that torque wrench?
I don't think I bought you so much on the torque wrench.
Yeah, but I was like, I'm going to buy this torque wrench. And it was like fucking $800 or something, $600.
Yeah, it was a lot.
I don't know what the fuck it was.
I was Kevin around for that decision. Were you around when he said that?
Yeah. I don't know if I told him the price.
Yeah,
I was like,
yeah, no, it might. The one to me that like is reminiscent is like the one that to me sticks out the most is the electric ratchet.
Yeah.
Where I was just like, dude, like, are you kidding me? Like, fuck electric ratchet. They have no torque. They don't work. It's bullshit. Yeah. All this shit. Gets the electric ratchet. 2 weeks later, I'm like, this is the best tool.
I do like the long, like roundabout way.
The long round, yeah.
The long way around to get the answer was, what is the tool that you wish you would have bought sooner? And then you finally answered it. And it's like this electric ratchet.
No, but honestly, it's literally like every tool.
No, it's already been answered. There's one, and Gerard answered it.
and another thing, one of the most amazing tools that you'll ever buy is, so obviously you work on cars, you do transmissions. There's an extension that's like, I think it's like 3 feet long, maybe 4 feet. It's probably 3 feet long, and it's 1/2 inch on one side, 3/8 on the other side, and it's skinny, but it's like strong AF. And like back in the day when we'd use like extension after extension after extension after extension to get the top bolts on the tranny. Man, now you just use this one extension. It's like fucking boom. It's like an impact one too. So you could theoretically use an impact on it, but like normally you just use a long ratchet, and it probably has like 40 or 50 degrees of like movement before it'll just be like cracks the bolt open.
Yeah, it's like you'll get from like this happened to me when I was trying to do the manual swap on the Crown, where it's like I literally had it on touching one side of the transmission tunnel, turned all the way to touching the other side of the transmission tunnel, and it didn't crack yet because there's so much flex.
Yeah.
You know what the unfortunate part of this podcast is that no one can see you guys like pantomime using a fucking giant like extension
using the tools.
Yeah.
Gerard fully committed. He like made it look like what he was doing seemed hard when he like pantomimed the wrench tool.
Yeah, and then it broke like.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
This is the first time I'm mad at Matt for asking a question.
Super funny.
Oh, yeah. Good. We did it.
Ryan's just like in so much pain right now.
No,
I'm your tools.
I'm making Instagram posts. Giving me some extra time to post on Instagram. Hey, Black Friday's coming up.
Yep.
That seems like a very important thing.
We got some great stuff.
What kind of things you got? What can I expect to get a deal on?
Rigid bushings. So we got engine mounts, subframe bushings, diff bushings. What's the other thing? Case RCAs are on sale. Merch is on sale, sort of.
We're gonna have a shifter on sale.
The shifter is going to be on sale.
For the first time ever, we're going to have our AK-49 drift knuckles on sale.
Yeah.
We're going to have our drift knobs on sale.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think the CD Pro.
That's right. The CD Pro is on sale. And you should definitely buy that on Black Friday because that is, that's what
Like
you need.
20% off, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Is that right? 20 or 15? 20.
20. Oh.
Solid deal, you guys.
There you go.
Hey, when's the steering wheel coming out?
We have confirmation that it's going to be very soon. We are receiving them within a couple weeks.
Mm-hmm. Definitely before Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
So you guys should do what they did when Star Wars A New Hope came out and they couldn't sell the toys for Christmas. You should tell people the box.
Yeah. And we'll ship you the toy.
And you'll ship you the steering wheel.
I didn't know that they did that. That's hilarious.
I feel
They
like
didn't
you would
have
have
the
been
action
alive
figures in
around
time.
during the time. Gerard, you didn't want Star Wars toys when you were a kid?
No, man.
Whatever.
I was
Are we even friends?
models, RC cars, lifelong drug addict, my friend.
Lifelong.
Single-minded.
Good go.
Single-minded.
Got blinders on, and that's how you get to be.
Didn't care about G.I. Joe. Didn't care about
Didn't
Star
care.
Wars.
No.
Didn't care about Ninja Turtles.
I didn't have G.I. Joe figurines. I definitely didn't have Ninja Turtle anything. I had models. I had RC cars. I had cars, like, stupid, like, I don't know, like Bigfoot. And it had like little shift knobs on top, and you could put it in 2-wheel drive or 4-wheel drive and high and low. And like, there was ones that had little turn, like you could like program it to go forward and turn and shit, like coding, I guess, like back in the day. It was like sick. I remember I had these pump up. I don't know if they make them anymore. They were really sick. So like it had a little pump.
Up.
What?
Pumped up kicks?
No. Like it was like they had a motorcycle one and like a
I totally don't remember what you're talking about.
Yeah, and you
it was
pump
like
them up.
pneumatic, yeah.
Yeah, and then they
then
don't
you
go
press
until you
there.
push them, and they're like, they were so sick, dude.
I'm sure
They're those things. I don't know, man.
All right. Well, we had very different childhoods. I had all the Ninja Turtles. And now my daughter does too. All right. Good. So that's where we end on that. I feel like there's a lot in this episode. I don't know what it'll all entail, but it was sure nice talking to you guys.
Yeah, it was. It was fun.
Thanks for listening to Serial Podcast 9.